Alright, so this is the start of the common flock. It's been a while. Things have been really chaotic, but we're back, and hopefully we can get to a good schedule again. And that also comes with the new influx of a new podcast, the High Scorer Podcast. Actually, no, it's the Big Score or the High Scorer. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it's it's the High Scorer Podcast, and I'm checking this because that's how I have jumped between four names with it, but let me make sure because I also want to make sure that I made no mistakes. And this weekend has been chaotic, so I'm surprised I even got this out. But yeah, the High Scorer Podcast. But yeah, go check that out. Gonna cover some Comets, Wolfpack, Rangers, a little bit of New Jersey Devils. So be there for that. But first episode may come out today. It might, depending on if I have some time between recording this, recording the Golden Dome potentially, and Holy Gators later today. Golden Dome I may wait till tomorrow. I don't know. There's a lot to talk about, but it's a lot that I can go over quick, so I don't know if it'll depend on how that comes out with recording. But so Philly just lost last night against the Cowboys, but they're in, they're rolling, their spot is sealed, but it's not where they're seated. It's just they're in the playoffs. They can go as high as the 5 and as low as the 7. And somebody tweeted this out, and as I try to pull it up, because I'm never prepared apparently, we can jump to 5, we can jump to 6, or we can stick at 7. Don't know. But let me pull it up here because I know who tweeted it. But looking at it, and we can play, I think, 4 different teams depending on how the games, 4 different games pan out. We can play Arizona, we can play Dallas, we can play Tampa Bay, and then there's a reason I'm forgetting the other one, and I don't know why. Here it is. Or you can play the Rams. And actually we can't hit the 5, but we can jump to the 6. But to play Tampa at the 6 or the 7 seed. So the only way we can get to the 6 is if the Rams beat San Fran and New Orleans beats Atlanta. That way, that makes Philadelphia the 6 seed and Tampa is the 3 seed. So that would equal out to us playing Tampa. The other way we play Tampa is if we're the 7 and they're the 2. If San Fran beats the Rams and Tampa wins, then we play them as the 7 seed and they're the 2 seed. The way we play the Rams is if the Rams win the San Fran game and Atlanta wins the New Orleans game, then we play the Rams over Tampa Bay. How we play Arizona is San Fran win over the Rams, Carolina win over Tampa Bay, and Arizona win over Seattle. That opens up Arizona to the 2 spot, and we play Arizona. And we get Dallas if San Fran wins, Carolina wins, and Seattle wins, knocking off the Rams, Tampa, and Arizona, moving Dallas up to the 2, and it locks us in against them. That I'd be excited for. It's a rematch. It's going to be a real game in the playoffs, a lot at stake, division rival. That's a real game to watch, and I hope we get Dallas, because right now I think they're the most beatable team. Tampa, yes, they may be battered, but they're still a tough team, and they've got Tom Brady. The Rams are loaded. They got Cooper Kupp, Van Jefferson. They've got a couple other weapons. Cam Akers is back. I mean, that defense is good. You're going to struggle against them, and if they allow even a little bit to Cooper Kupp, it's a done deal, and Cooper Kupp's been having a great season. That's not a team I would want to run into. Arizona, they're a weaker team compared to what they used to be. They are getting J.J. Watt back off IR. They're still a tough team. Kyler Murray's still a great scrambling quarterback, movement quarterback, and at the end of the day, I just feel Dallas is the worst team. You can make an argument for Arizona, but you can make an argument for potentially every one of them, but I think Arizona and Dallas are almost neck and neck with that. But that's just for the division winners of the worst teams that we could play. So we'll see who we get. It'll depend on the San Fran Rams game, and depending on what happens, maybe New Orleans, Atlanta, Carolina, Tampa, and Seattle, Arizona. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Now, I'm going to cut over to this running back room for a minute because this is a question I'm really thinking about now more than ever. Sorry if you hear the mic movements, but I've been thinking, is it time to move on from Boston Scott and maybe somebody else in that room, maybe a Huntley or somebody, and get somebody in the draft? Is it time to get somebody behind Miles in case something happens again, he gets hurt? I mean, Gainwell's a good back, and he's got a lot of potential, but I don't see him being a guy that can do everything and fill the role that Miles does. I think it's time we go for another running back. You can never have too many running backs, and why not? You got nothing to lose and everything to gain from it. So why not? I guess it's a difference of perspective, and it also depends where you go for a running back. If you're going to get a running back, I get him in the first 4 rounds. I don't know if I get another 5th rounder, depending on how you see the guy, too. If he's someone who's been dropping, get him. But other than that, I don't think it'd be necessary if they're like a 2nd to 4th rounder, I think would be nice to put behind Miles. And he's got a contract year coming up next year. If they don't want to pay him the big bucks, you can have a running back behind him now and then look to the year after that's draft and go, all right, who's in this draft? And I got one guy in mind, and if you've seen me at all during my draft, when I talk about the draft, I'll mention Sean Tucker, running back out of Syracuse. Right now he's a freshman. He's going into his sophomore year next year, but he's barely staying in Syracuse. He's going to depart whenever he can. He's probably going to do whatever he can, and I think he's out soon because Syracuse probably has already made him angry. They dealt his quarterback. Well, they set his quarterback for no reason when he was the better quarterback, realistically, and then let him just get in the transfer portal. And then the top receiver on the team, they also let just go into the transfer portal and go, all right, bye, guys. I'm going to go have fun somewhere else. I was at one of the Syracuse games when they played Albany, and you saw Tucker, Taj Harris, and Harris is the receiver, and Tommy DeVito all sitting together half the time talking, and they were talking with some of the other older guys in the offense and everything, and on the team in general, because those are your guys that are like up there, and guys like Schmidt, you'd see occasionally talking to him, the kicker, the captain. And you'd see a couple of the other older guys over there talking to him, some of the leaders of the offense and defense at times. And it was like, those guys are the leaders. Then they kicked them out. But I think they've made Tucker mad enough where he's going to leave as soon as possible for the draft if he doesn't transfer. And that'll open up a door to get somebody in Miles' spot that's going to be a great back, has a lot of potential. And we'll see what he can. I want to see what he can do, even if he doesn't land in Philly. But that's just been a guy I've been talking about for a while and saying I'd be fine with that. But what else do we got? I was gonna say we could talk about the Dallas game, but I didn't get to see much of it because I was at Comets Wolfpack last night. Oh, that was great. I've got some stories about it for the first high scorer podcast. If you'll go check that out later today. But I was super stressed during that because I kept checking the Philly game at times. I was like, I know it's backups and I really don't care, but I care at the same time. Minshew had an okay game. J-Jaw had a bad drop. It was just bad placement, bad timing. So what? It's one of his only drops. We're gonna fault him for it. People make mistakes. He just happened to make one on a huge scale in a game that didn't matter. So what? I feel like it's a lot bigger of a deal to everybody else than it is to me. And then you had the Rieger drop, which just building the track record. But again, it was in a meaningless game, so I really don't care about it much. This game was not really going to do much for us. I don't care. We're going to move up in seeding, but we can still play any division winner. It doesn't really matter. But it is what it is, and Minshew did play good behind a decent backup O-line with decent weapons and running backs out. Scott, Sanders, and Howard, so he made the best of his opportunity, and he did okay. There was some problems here and there, some things that definitely need to be worked on, but most of them were not his fault. It was just the situation he was in. And you got to take the game with a grain of salt. It's basically, and I say this every once in a while, this game is more the exception than the rule, and it's 100% correct. But we'll see. And then going into the playoffs, this is what interests me because the playoffs are a different beast, and I'm quoting somebody on that every time I say that. And I'm gonna end up clipping this and sending it to him, I think, because every time I say it, I always say I'm quoting somebody smart because great minds think alike, and they do. But the playoffs are a different beast, especially in the NFL. You've got one game, and that's all it takes. You don't got 7 like in the NBA. You don't got 5 or 7 like in the NHL. You don't got 5 or 7 like in the MLB. Actually, I think the NHL is all 7. I don't remember. I think I might be thinking that they do the MLB thing. I don't know. But it's not like a lot of other sports. You got one game. That's it. And you win, you win. You lose, you lose. There's no going back. And there's no fixing it. So okay. Yeah, sorry if that was loud. Somebody decided to distract me, but where was I at? Yeah, the playoffs. So the playoffs are a different beast, and so when it comes down to it, this is going to be the deciding game right here, and everyone's got to step up. I mean, I don't know how good of a condition Howard's going to be in because he has another stinger, and those are very iffy, especially with the history he already has of having one. Boston Scott, I mean, I don't know if he's going to be the back that you may need in this game. I don't know if Miles will be 100%, and that's worrisome. And then Gainwell I think will be fine for the role he'll probably be used for, so running back room's kind of iffy. Receiving room, it depends on if they spread the ball around or not. They probably won't, but it'd be nice to see the tight ends get more targets in general, and anybody not named Smith, Rieger, and Quez get a little more touches because it definitely helps spreading the ball around, and it would be useful, especially if you start to bring out a couple different looks and different packages. Now's the time to do it. So why not? What have you got to lose? Nothing. We didn't even think we would be here right now. So the fact that you got here already says a lot, but you should pour even more into it because you got nothing to lose and you got everything to gain from this. We were counted out from the beginning, and we got here with a tough team. So why not? Why not bring out some different looks, different packages on both sides? And then on defense, why not give some different looks at linebacker, because I think it's needed with how bad ours is at times. corner. Hopefully the young guys get a little bit more of an opportunity in certain situations, depending on who they're playing on, because I think certain corners are called for against certain receivers. But that's a different story. But it all depends. I mean, it's all going to depend who we face, too. But this defense has got it locked down. Gannon's got to get it together and really got to pour himself into this game, because at times his defense has been horrible. So need to step up, and his blitz timing needs to get better. But there's also times where the defense is great and the offense just decides, oh, we're supposed to score? I didn't know that. We didn't know this was the whole premise of the game, scoring to win. But it doesn't excuse that Gannon can never time a blitz for his life. But that's beside the point. The coaches got to step up for these games. I mean, right now it's a matter of just getting them there and getting them experience in those games. But you've also got to fight for the next game, because anything can happen. And nobody thought there would be this team. This team would be here. No one thought there would be playoffs. So why not prove them wrong even more and push further? But it is what it is. We'll see how the team does. We'll see how the team does, and it'll be interesting to see who we're facing, because there's a wide selection of who we face, and it'll be interesting. It always is. The NFL and football in general this year has been very interesting. So you never know, ever. Alright, so I don't really have much to talk about, that's the thing. Because I've already gone over a lot of it on other streams, but when it does come down to it, I think there will be position coaches on the move again. And honestly, I think some two that really have to be looked at are Rocker with the D-line and Moorhead with the receivers. I think, yes, you probably could give Moorhead another year, just based on, like, he hasn't had the same people around him for a while, and he's a former NFL receiver. He knows how it is, even though the NFL changes every day, let alone over a span of years. But I think you can give him another year, and if you don't like what you see, by all means, hire a new receiving coach. And then Rocker, the defensive line, certain guys that came in are showing some good level of play and a little bit of improvement, but not enough to where I can go, you're doing good, buddy. It's not going good at all. But I think that also is a little bit on Gannon, because his scheming's not the best, his blitzing sucks, and Fletcher Cox came out earlier in the year and said some of those defensive guys felt like they were out of position, at least some of them. And when Fletch says something, you listen, because he doesn't do it much to the media. He said it. He said they feel out of position earlier in the year. That looks like it's somewhat started to change, but I don't know if it's completely changed or not. That's something you got to ask the guys in there. So I think part of it's Gannon, but part of it's also, it could be Rocker. You never know, truly. But I think those two definitely will deserve a look after this year to kind of be evaluated and go, can we find something better than this? And I know a lot of people want Gannon gone, but give him another year. He's showing improvement over the year. Is it the way he adjusts? It looks a little different and looks better. His scheming looks a little better. He still can't time blitzes for his life, like I've said before, but he started to do some good things, and he's definitely bought himself some time recently. And that defense is part of the reason Nick Sirianni is thought about for head coach of the year. So was Zach, Zach Taylor? Zach Stacy? I forget who the name. The coach for the Bengals. There's a reason both those rookie coaches are up there, because they've had such a great year, and we'll definitely see what happens. But I know this is really short. I just kind of want to get it out of the way, get this back up and going, get back in the flow of recorded podcasts again. And, well, looking forward to looking forward to the playoffs when they come around, and we'll see who we're facing. But you know who I am. I'll have more stuff coming out during the week, over the weekend. Today, Holy Gator is tonight. Podcast should be out tonight, depending on how everything plays out. But you know who I am. I'll see you guys later today with more content.